Hello everyone, I'm going to jump right into the tutorial, but I do have a message for my subs at the end of the video. It's just, I don't like watching tutorial videos and then this guy's like stalling about his channel or whatever, even though that's what I'm doing right now anyway, dude, whatever. So I'm going to teach you guys how to make a retro lead that I really like to make, or really like to use in a lot of my songs. It's very easy to make, and it's rather simple and hopefully easy to remember. So there's a channel rack here. I'm going to click this button, opens it up. And again, this is a new FL Studio project, so I haven't actually done anything yet. This is just how it looks like when I open the program. And I don't actually use these instruments. So you want to right click, insert, additive, harmony. And if you have a different version of FL Studio, it might be organized differently, but you can go to more plugins and manually search, and that might be faster. So now that I have the program open, sometimes when you open Harmony, it opens on a different instrument than the pure default. So you want to hit this drop down and go to presets and click default. And now all these knobs and stuff, they're not actually doing anything, and I'm playing a simple saw wave, which is what it sounds like. So basically what I'm going for here is a square wave, and in Harmony it's very easy to do that because this is what a square wave looks like on the right side here, and this mixer is blending the sounds. So you want to move it to the right. Now it's a square wave, so it sounds like this. And I can do a blend of saw and square in the middle. But the retro sound, the square has a very retro-y sound, I think. And if you're using different VSTs and you still want this, want to make some kind of chiptune sound, just look for a square wave. Different VSTs will, sorry about that, Discord, but different VSTs will have different ways of showing you square. Sometimes they'll type it out in text and it'll just say square, and sometimes they'll show the waveform and you might have to edit it manually. But if you make it a square, it should have a similar vibe to this. And so sometimes it'll be under the I think this is pronounced timbre, I think is the pronunciation. So I can actually open up another instrument here, harmless, which I like to use sometimes, and here they have different types of waves. They don't actually have a proper square, but they have square tooth, which is somewhat similar. It's different, but it has a different, like, this is clearly a saw here, and then now it's more square-ish, which usually the square-ish sounds are more retro. So I'm just telling you this. If you want to use your own favorite VST for whatever reason, look for the square. So that's a huge part of it already. I mean, that's a good instrument. It's very simple, very basic, but that's what I like about it. But there are some extra techniques I want to teach you, and first is how to do slide notes, because they can sound really cool. So make sure your instrument is highlighted, the one that you want to use the slide notes for, and hit the piano roll, which is this small icon here. And so I can place a note in by clicking, drag it out. This is a regular note. Now if I hit this triangle here, this is how I make a slide note. Notice that when I place a note now, when this triangle is bold, there's a triangle in the corner of the note. So basically this is telling this note down here how to move. So after one beat, it's gonna start moving towards G sharp, and then by the end of this beat, it's going to be at G sharp. So it sounds like this. But the longer slides are kind of cheesy and don't always sound good. But a lot of times what I'll do is do short slides. So you do something like this. And that has a lot more fluid sound than if I just move the note manually and did it like this. Right? So there's a clear difference here. And you can use either. but sometimes I like to slide. Like I don't like to overuse slide notes, but they can sound pretty cool sometimes. And also if you don't want it to be like a single long note like that, because that technically was one note. It was here. It's just moving the pitch, but you can do like this, and now it's individual notes, but they still have a slidey effect, which I think a lot of times sounds even better. So there's that. And another thing I want to show you guys is vibrato, which if you guys listen to me, I spam vibrato because I think it sounds really cool. So in Harmor, you go down to here, and there's vibrato here. In Harmless, the vibrato's here. But I like Harmor better because you can do a really cool thing with the vibrato. Maybe you can do it on this program, but I'm not sure. Maybe I don't know it super well, but it doesn't seem like I can. Anyway, so if I move this depth up, that's gonna activate the vibrato. So now, if I play a note, it sounds very vibrato-y and pretty bad if I made a song like this. It sounds silly. A lot of times, vibrato is used when a note is prolonged and then you work your way into vibrato. Like think about like singing and like playing string instruments. A lot of times that's how they do it. So that's the effect that I want to go for. So you can set the depth and speed to whatever you want. And then what you want to do is right click here on depth and then go to edit articulator. So you can do this on any knob on Harmor. Anything you want. Look, like even if you click this drop down here, it'll show you all the stuff you can work with. Right now it's on pitch vibrato depth, which is what I right clicked here. Now you want to hit this little circle. It's just kind of bad design in my opinion, because you got to hit this tiny circle to activate it. But it may seem like bad design, but a lot of VSTs have similar things where you have to hit a tiny button to make sure something is turned on before you can actually use it. So now when I play a note, you'll see a line move through here. And when the line's on the left, it's going to be a small amount of vibrato, and when it's over here, it's going to be to the max depth, at least what I have here. So it's not as easy to hear because it's moving. The line moves really quick, and what I like to do is move this decay button all the way to the right. Now it's much slower. Now, when the note is held out longer, the vibrato kicks in, and to me that sounds a lot better. And you can also manually pull this out and make it even more of a longer wait. So now it's, and if you do it like that, you can have like some really cool dramatic melodies where it's very fast notes, and then you have this one climactic drawn out note, and then it smooths in that vibrato, and it's a very sleek sound, and it sounds awesome. The one issue with doing this though, okay, the benefit of doing this actually is that you don't have to worry about vibrato if you just make so that the vibrato activates after a certain length of notes. So if I go to piano roll and I plug in a bunch of notes, or I record notes, it will automatically play the vibrato anytime a note is played at a certain length, which I get to determine with this thing here. However, the downside is it's less natural, and some people might say it can sound cheesy because it's the same exact vibrato expected at the same exact time. So I'm going to turn this off, and I'm going to show you some other ways you can use vibrato, which are more natural sounding. And Harmless can do the exact same. What I just showed you on Harmor, I don't know how to do this on Harmless, but the two methods I'm about to show you can do it on here by just clicking. This is the vibrato function. It says Vib on Harmless. You can right click and do the same stuff. And on pretty much any VST that has a vibrato modulator, you should be able to do this in FL Studio. So first I'm going to put my pattern in the arrangement area. So if I click this button here, it'll bring up the arrangement. If you're new to FL Studio, you should really familiarize yourself with these 5 buttons here, because they are probably the most important and you'll be using them a lot. Anyways, open your arrangement, and you're going to be using the record function, which is this button here. So If I click that, and then click everything, and then make sure you have this green arrow here. When I hit space, it's going to start recording, and any knob I turn, it's gonna record, or even any note I play as well, it's gonna record, and it's gonna paint it into this pattern automatically. What I like to do though is have these kind of modulations on a separate pattern. So if you hit the plus there and go to and just name it whatever you want, but then you left click and put a new pattern down. It's a blank, it has nothing in it, but this is now the active pattern, which you can see up here. And because it's the active pattern, when I record, it's going to paint over that pattern. Any notes, any modulation is going to be painted into that pattern. And I like being able to do that because I can reapply this modulation to a different pattern, if that makes sense. So if I hit space, it will start recording, and then I hit space again to end it. You can also manually hit play and stop up here, but spacebar I find is easier. So just watch. So I wasn't going for anything good there. I was just demonstrating the function. So now, if you watched I controlled that with my mouse, and I hit spacebar to stop. If you're done recording, hit the record button again and get that red light out. Otherwise, next time you hit play to preview your song, it's going to record whatever you're doing, if you're doing anything, and you don't want that. You can also overwrite this recording as well if you do it again on the same pattern. Otherwise, you want to get a new pattern. But now, if you watch this knob here, and when I hit play, it's going to move on its own. So that's not me doing anything. That was pre-recorded, and it's moving on its own. And that's awesome. So another thing you can do, if you don't want to use your mouse, you can link to a controller. And if you have like a MIDI keyboard with some knobs or buttons, you can link pretty much any mod, any knob, any automation, anything you want. You can link to those knobs on your controller and do it that way. And then I can record. I have like a little slidey thing that I sometimes use on a MIDI keyboard that if I do recording. And also, if you guys are interested in like performing electronic music, then that's another really awesome thing you can do in FL Studio, because then you can have a MIDI keyboard, play the notes live, and then use the modulator to change vibrato. In fact, I think Haywire does that. You can watch some videos of Haywire, and he's going ham on this keyboard, and then he like adds in some pitch modulation and vibrato. So anyway, that was a slight tangent. So this is probably the easiest way to manually put vibrato, but there's another way to do it if you want to be a little bit more precise, because this is like human error here. If you want to be super precise, you can go to right click on the depth and then create automation clip, and that'll have some random colored line here. So right now it's saying no vibrato for the whole thing, but if I right click and add a node, and now I can change it. So I could do like this, and it'll rise gradually and then fall, so something like this. So I mean, this is just an example. If I was really doing this seriously, I would have it so the notes that are held out like this would have more vibrato, and you can also like cut different parts out. You use this slice tool to like this, and like this, and duplicate, and do whatever you want. Now this should sound like this. That's a more mathematical way to do it. Kind of like how we did it over here with the edit articulator, but this has a little bit more freedom. Like you can, like the way I did it here is basically the same as doing it how I did it there, but I can like change each individual thing here and just do whatever fits my fancy. So that's another way to do it. And these automation clips are very popular, I think, among people who produce with FL Studio, because you can also, again, you can do this with anything you want to automate. So if I want to do this low pass, I can do create automation clip, and then boom, it adds a new one, and then I can make the highs cut out, add a node, and then boom. Now the highs are going to cut out halfway through the song, and actually, because of the way this low pass works, it shouldn't sound like anything at this point. Yeah, but this kind of stuff you can do like for builds and stuff, like if you're doing a transition, you know. Do stuff like that. Anyway, so there's a couple more things I want to go over just really quickly. This video's lasting longer than I expected. So those are very helpful techniques that, you know, you can use for anything. But anyway, two more things. My thoughts are scrambled, guys. I don't want to do another take, dude. I don't like editing, and I've done so many takes in this video because I messed something up. Anyway, so open up your instrument, click this drop down, and then go to route to free mixer track, and that will automatically add it to your mixer, which is, you can open it by hitting this button here. And the mixer you really should be using if you're using FL Studio. Again, these 5 very useful tools. So I can edit like the pan and the volume here, or the gain, so to speak, and then over on this right side I can add effects. So if I move here, the effects will change. I'm going to make sure your instrument is highlighted, and then add some. You can add anything you want. You can add reverb, phaser, chorus, or anything. But what you want to do is add an equalizer. So the reason these last 2 things are for mixing and mastering. If you're not interested in this, then whatever. But equalizer will adjust the pitches of the sound. So right now this left side is showing the lower pitches, and the right side is the higher pitches. So if I raise it like this, you'll hear the highs go up. Alright, well this low pass is messing everything up. Okay, so again, now it has a really sharp sound. It's really hideous, but that's because I turned the highs up. And if I turn the lows down, it's cut. But I want to go over just the kind of mindset you want to be in when mixing. Sometimes, like instruments like this, if I go to the lower end, you'll see I have noise down in these bass area, so like sub and the bass area. There's a lot of noise when I play lower notes, and if I have a bass and all kinds of other instruments playing at the same time, sometimes you don't want too much muddiness there, and it helps to lower the bass, because this is a lead, and leads usually have higher tones, higher pitches, and the bass ends up just being noise. And if you bring it down, it reduces that noise, and you still get a very similar sound. And in fact, when it's over a song, it almost sounds like no different, but there's less noise. So think about also with basses, sometimes you want to lower the highs so that they don't mix with your leads or your pads or whatever. So equalizer is a very important thing to think about when you're. Most people should know how to use the equalizer, but be thinking about it in a way that helps you mix and master. And then there's the gain. Well, I'm using the using the stereo enhancer here. So this is all about stereo separation, and this to me is very important and very helpful when making songs. So just listen. No words, just listen. So you need headphones most likely to hear that. So the sound moves wide and then kind of comes in to the front. And this is a very useful thing, because if you have all kinds of instruments going on, you can really, if you separate the space in the stereo world, I guess, then things will sound more clear and more dynamic. So it's very cool to mess around with this and your different instruments and move them to different places in your headphones. You can also use pan, and you can also do like a really crazy effect, like if I hit right here and then move the offset to the left. Now I kind of have like 2 almost identical versions, like slightly offset in the right and left side of the ear, and it's like a crazy sound experience. I mean, you don't have to use this, but it can make things really interesting. And there's no like strict rules on what kind of instruments need to be where. Some people will be like, oh, your drums have to be centered. Just do what you want, man. Whatever sounds good to you, because there's just like whatever. Anyway, I like to put my basses kind of in the back. It kind of fills up the space there, and I kind of like it. But it's just something to think about when you're using these leads in an actual song. So that's basically the end of this tutorial. I really didn't mean it to go for 20 minutes, but hopefully you learned something. And now I want to talk to my subs first for a moment here. First of all, I want to thank you guys a lot, because the things with music is I pretty much do this for myself because I think it's fun. I think it's fun to make music, to have an idea of a song in my head, and then bring it to reality. It's very fun. It's just because of that, I'll always be doing it, even if no one's listening, and even if I'm not making any money. But I really like when people listen to my stuff and give me nice comments. I mean, you guys don't understand when I see like a comment in my inbox and it's like some really positive thing from somebody that I don't know at all, complete stranger, but they're telling me, oh, I love your song, man, this I've been listening to this so many times. You guys don't understand that that's a really nice feeling. Like, those kind of comments actually make my day. And I read all these comments, and I want you guys to know that I appreciate you a lot, and anyone who's commented, I really appreciate it. So first off, there's my thanks there. And then I want to talk to you guys about like monetizing my channel. I'm thinking about doing it. That would probably put like overlay ads. I'm not going to do video ads because who wants to listen to music and be interrupted? But like the little ads that you can X out of, I might add those. But it's one of those things that like I like money, but it's not. I don't need the money in order to keep doing it. Does that make sense to you guys? So I'm never gonna like do a Patreon. I mean that says like, oh, in order for me to keep doing this, I need your support. No, it's never like that. But I do like support. I do like money because I'm like I'm out of college and I have debt. Some extra money would be nice. But in order to get to that monetization goal, I need to meet the minimum requirements, which are 1,000 subs, which we have, and 4,000 watch hours in the past year, I believe. And I'm at about 3,600. So in 400 more watch hours, I'll be able to monetize my videos and make a little bit of extra money. And ultimately, my goal, it's not anything I'm expecting, but it would be really nice to just be able to make money doing music only. Like, I'm going into like the science field, and it's interesting, but I just don't have the passion that I have for music. So this is the next step. So if you guys wanna play some songs on repeat, or you can even just turn the volume. If you're sick of the songs, turn the volume down and just keep playing, so I can get watch hours. That'd be cool. I'm not actually sure if how that works, but you don't have to. It's just do what you guys want. Anyways, that's all for this video. I love you guys. Peace.